I said I wanted to talk about Creepypasta in my last Pokemon video, and even though I said I wanted to make it, I haven't exactly written anything. So we get to see how well my improv is. So what makes a good Creepypasta story? Well, I have to say, relating to actual Pokemon. I've seen a few where it was all blood and gore like a Hollywood fic, which is really... just don't do that. Don't do that. And they didn't have any Pokemon in it. Like, it focused on the main character, which I can understand is important. That's how we relate to the game. But without Pokemon, it loses the charm of what actually makes it a part of the genre. Using what I was already in the games is perfect for a story. It's very necessary, and there's a lot that you can draw from the Pokemon games, like Parasect, the Pokédex entry mentions that the mushroom on its back is actually a parasite, which takes over its brain. Zombie insects. Sounds like a good story. And then there's Houndoom, that if it burns you, it hurts forever. That's pretty messed up for a kid's game when you think about it. And some of the best stories draw from these elements, like one of my favorite is The White Hand of Lavender Town, which Lavender Town is already a pretty good setting for a creepypasta fic. And it shows because the White Hand story, people actually believe that's possible in the game. Even the writers have thrown in their own little side story that makes a pretty good creepypasta. You know, the one where Gary's Raticate dies because you were fighting it and that's the reason he's in Lavender Town. I wouldn't say that's so much a creepypasta as a good side story, but I'll throw it in here as a good example of drawing from elements from the actual game and putting it into a story that makes it so much better. Another one that's going around Tumblr is where it asks the question, what happens when a trainer dies and what happens to their Pokemon? The story goes that they eventually die in this, their Pokeballs, and their item remains behind. This isn't that interesting a story to me until I realized that there are actual Pokeballs sitting around in the game with items in there, and that makes the story so much better to realize that really is an element of the game. Lost Silver has to be the most famous of all Pokemon creepypastas. And I think the reason that this one works so well is that it actually reads like you're playing the game, which is by far the best route you can go because it draws from the elements from the game. It has a mild bit of gore, but it's also kind of set up to be a late night movie watching, let's get scared kind of situation. Finally, what is my favorite creepypasta? Hypno's Lullaby, which is perfect because it draws from Pokédex entries. I brought a note card for this one. When it is very hungry, it puts humans it meets to sleep, then it feasts on their dreams. And for Fire Red, it carries a pendulum-like device. There once was an incident in which it took away a child it hypnotized. Those are kind of creepy on their own because kidnapping children, no one likes. No one. Especially when you're little and you're playing the game. And I'm sure you have references in your own mind if you ever watched the TV show of when all those kids went missing because of a hypno. The adults were using it to get to sleep. Yeah. And also the eating of dreams, that's pretty creepy on its own because we don't exactly know what happens to our brain when we go to sleep and why we dream. So having something disrupt that can lead to a really great story. But Hypno's Lullaby focuses on the kidnapping of children, and if you've never heard the YouTube version of it, I would go look it up right away. It's worth the watch, it really is.